Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live this morning. Back in my office. How are you guys doing this morning? Hope you're having a great start to your day. Today is blow your socks off day. Charles, you're first one up this morning. Good morning to you. Mike, how are you? Sharon, nice to have you on. John, from Elgin, Illinois, Rosalinda, and if I'm not mistaken, Niagara Falls. Kerry, Nebraska. Sandra, good morning. Linda, and Lori, Niagara Falls. Claudette, how are you? Madeleine, Temiskaming. Bonjour. Wendy, good morning. Nancy, and Zien, good morning. And Jean, Chantal, Ottawa, Nicole, and Nick from our staff. Good morning. Joe, BC, good morning. Bright and early, 5:30 in the morning. Natalie, Marcy, another John, good morning. Elaine, Ronaldo, and Marilyn. How are you? Keith, friend from Bell River. Inga, and Jocelyn, good morning. Kathy, St. Catharines. Jerry, Habs are not going well, eh, Jer? Terrible. Catherine, Newfoundland. Judy from Newfoundland. Here we go, waiting for our dear friends from Newfoundland. Evelyn, good morning to you. Okay, let's get going. Like I said, today is blow your socks off day. We're going to talk about Vitderma today because, wow, talk about some important news that came down the pipe. Hot off the press, this was presented in Warsaw, Poland on October the 15th or 16th. Let me just make one comment about something that came out yesterday, and maybe we'll do it. We put the chart up. Tony Jr. put the chart up. From the American Nutritional Establishment. My word. To them, okay, I don't know if you saw that chart, but it's on our private Facebook group. At the bottom of the chart, meaning hardly ever eat, were eggs, meat, and cheese, and butter. Don't eat those things. According to the American Nutritional, can you guys believe this? And better than having eggs, cooked in butter, according to them, were Cheerios. Oh, listen to this one. Chocolate-covered almonds. I love chocolate-covered almonds, okay? But never in my lifetime was I ever fooled, and I mean that, to think that chocolate-covered almonds were better for you, that Cheerios was better for you than having eggs in the morning, bacon and eggs, sausage and eggs in the morning. I never even thought that way. I can't even think, even as a kid. I mean, not that I wouldn't love to have Lucky Charms in the morning. I can't get over if it wasn't so serious, you would think it's a joke. They had ground beef at the last spot, the bottom of the list of what you should be eating. It's beyond my, it's not, yeah, even that surprises me because it's not that, I understand the way nutritionists, they're trained today and this and that. Meat is bad and cholesterol and bad fat and fat free and, you got to eat fat free. But what they put on the top of the list that you should be eating, are you kidding me? Like Lucky Charms? Chocolate covered almonds? Cheerios? There's a heart on the box of Cheerios. Did you know that? Brought to you by the American Heart Association. You know what it means? If you eat that stuff, you will get a heart attack. Because when you eat those crappy carbs, because that's what they are, your insulin's going to go through the roof. And as your insulin goes through the roof, over a period of time, your body develops inflammation, and inflammation starts destroying your blood vessels, thus heart disease. Never mind that it elevates your triglycerides. I just can't get over it. They're still stuck. They're stuck. It's like Elvis Presley. He died in 1976 or 77. 77, I think. Get over it. I see people every once in a while, they think they're Elvis. They dyed their hair black and they got long sideburns and wear bell bottoms. And I say, would you get over his, like he's been gone since 1977. My first major interview, this is a true story, by the way. My first major interview was in 1977 on the day, well, it was actually the day Elvis died at night. I was being interviewed for Canada AM, which is for my American audience. That's like the daily talk show. Okay, in the morning, give you the news and give you guests. And I happened to be coming on. And they bumped me for Elvis because he died overnight. And the whole morning was to Elvis. Why am I telling you this story? Because, are you kidding me? Here we are in 2021 and we still got nutrition wrong? You know what? I thank God for you guys, because you guys know better than to read a chart like that and not laugh. It's beyond me. It is. It always, it's like someone slapping me in the face. Like, are you kidding me? You still believe that? Do you think Elvis is still alive? Come on. Anyway. I had to comment on that because I saw it yesterday, but Tony Jr. put it up on the private Facebook group, and I just died again. Now let's blow your socks off, okay? Enough of the bad news. Have you guys ever heard of Vitderma? Have you? I love that name. Vitamin D. Here's some good news. It's not just for your bones. Major study, combined studies were presented to a conference in Warsaw, Poland, on the weekend. Last weekend. And here are some of the findings. It's incredible. Not surprising, but incredible nonetheless, because the world, if the world only knew, but they don't want to know. They don't want to see this. The world is, again, you got to see behind the scenes, guys. Okay? Looking behind the scenes. What's happening? What is happening? And governments are influenced by three main things, three main drivers. Big pharma, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Big food, and we just talked about it. Big pharma, big foods, and big media. Big time media. Unreal. It's being driven. There's an agenda. And I don't even know, I'm not even telling you it's coordinated. Okay? All I know is that we see it every day. And one of the things that's being vilified is vitamin D. Our health minister in Canada, when it was brought up in Parliament, said vitamin D is fake news. It's fake news. Didn't elaborate, didn't allow any second questions. It's not part of therapeutics. The government doesn't recognize it. It's fake news. And you and I know better than that. You and I know better than that. And so this, hot off the press from Warsaw, Poland, on October 15th and 16th, 21, studies on vitamin D. Here was the headline. Vitamin D levels in the world are crashing. They're not getting better, they're getting worse. Part of it is Netflix syndrome. People stayed home. People are not as active. People weren't getting outside. Weren't, like they should have. Anyway, that's part of it. But they're saying they're plummeting. One of the reasons they plummet, guys, is because of bad math. Vitamin D levels and the amount you need to take have been miscalculated. I've told you about this in the past. It's just been bad math. But here's what these studies said in Warsaw, Poland. Not only are vitamin D levels crashing, but in order to be healthy, that another headline was the mortality, especially in cancer, takes a nosedive. The mortality in cancer takes a nosedive. And I'll give you the specific cancers in a minute. Takes a nosedive if you have certain levels of dehydroxy, which is vitamin D levels in your bloodstream. For heaven's sakes, in Canada, you can't even get the vitamin D levels tested most of the time. All our tests in Canada are paid for, but vitamin D and they're so reticent to even test it. I can't get over it. But if you have in your mind that vitamin D, is fake news, for your immune system and for everything else, for cancer, whatever. Well, I guess, why do I got to take your vitamin D levels? You're not because their doctors are thinking osteoporosis. That's all they're thinking. You're not to worry about osteoporosis. I'm not taking your vitamin D. Now, I'm not saying all doctors, okay? But, I'm making a general statement because it's generally true. Every year, thousands of people come back to me and say, Doc, they wouldn't check my vitamin D levels. They wouldn't even let me pay for it. No, you don't need it. Oh, I go crazy. But this conference, the studies that were introduced said that all-cause mortality goes down. All-cause mortality, but especially in cancer. Vitamin D. And here's the numbers. They actually had numbers. In the United States, if you were lower than between 40 and 60 NGML, okay, that's in the United States, 40 to 60. I like above 60, by the way, in the United States. In Canada, the numbers there would be 40 would be about 80. That's way too low. 80 to about 120. I want higher than that, but for the sake of the studies, and that in Canada, they do the NMOL per liter of vitamin D, okay? So between 40 and 60, and let's say 80 and 140 in the United States, they say your numbers for cancer, okay? So the studies have shown that overall mortality in all cancers is down by 40%. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. There ain't anything like vitamin D for cancer. I always talk to you about food and eliminating sugar, but there ain't nothing like vitamin D. Vitderma. And the mortality, here's what was presented at the conference, because they did talk about the virus, COVID, almost zero. If you're at 50, which would be about 90 Canadian, 50 American, 90 Canadian. Oh, by the way, this one came out, but then they went through all these cancer rates and the decrease in mortality. But in COVID, it was almost at zero. So let me just say this. Unless you don't listen to the news, there was a pretty famous guy that died in the last few days, Colin Powell. Did you hear about that? He was 84, wasn't a young pup. But, they said he died of the virus, but then, he had leukemia, he wasn't well. But can I suggest one thing? I'm just going to make a suggestion for the sake of giving information. I can almost guarantee you, based on these studies that were presented in Warsaw, that man had very low levels of vitamin D. Well, first of all, he's dark. He's African American. They need a lot more sun than we do. And that generation, is he part of mine or part of my father's? Well, my father would be 90. If my dad was still alive, he'd be, 96, I think. But my generation and the one above it, scared skinny of the sun. Scared skinny. And because of bad math, if they took vitamin D, I get people boasting. Oh, doc, I take 1,000 IUs. That's for mice. I take 1,000 IUs. That's for mice. Therapeutically. That don't do nothing. Okay? No, but this is what the research showed. People that die from that virus, they have very low levels of vitamin D. We talked about that. People that go to the ICU with virus have low levels of vitamin D. It's almost invariable. Let me name you some cancer that they went over. Breast cancer. Now, we talked about this because it's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Have you worn your pink? And listen, I want to fight breast cancer like nobody's business. But I always talked about this. Maybe 4 things. 1, breast cancer is estrogen driven. Now, some doctors disagree with that because they say, oh, no, we did the biopsy on the tumor and it wasn't receptive to estrogen. All tumors are receptive to estrogen. It just wasn't estrogen receptive on steroids, because any growth you have, any growth loves estrogen. Any tumor is driven by estrogen, and you know the other one, insulin. And in cancer, don't feed the bears. Don't give them sugar. Cancer cells are like teenagers. They want chocolate-covered almonds. I love chocolate-covered almonds. I'd like to eat that too. Oh, come on. And the other one, in breast cancer, listen to what they're saying. In breast cancer, 40 to 50% reduction with good levels of vitamin D. Prostate cancer, which is the male version of breast cancer because it needs insulin, it needs estrogen, and guess what? Sugar and low vitamin D levels. Because listen to what it's saying. It's decreased by 40%. When they just hit between 40 and 60, 80 to 125 to, 100. Look, like I said, I want blood work higher than that, okay? That's me. That's my experience. Somebody yesterday, I think, mentioned, oh, Dr. Martin, should I be concerned? My vitamin D Canadian was 250. I said, good. That's what I would aim for. That's good. That's a healthy vitamin D. You're up there. You want to optimize it. You want to optimize your vitamin D. Lung cancer, 60%. 60% reduction. You know what the number one killer in cancer is? And look, I read an article this morning even. Early this morning, I read this article that says cancer is starting to overtake, okay? In the Western world, cancer is starting to overtake heart disease in terms of the cause of death. And you know what the number one cancer is? I heard a famous guy, well, famous if you like hockey. I heard last night that famous hockey player, Mike Bossy, has lung cancer. And every time I hear lung cancer, I go, that's the number one killer in cancers is lung cancer. And yet people generally got the memo to quit smoking. But what they didn't do is they didn't give you the memo about not only sugar, but crappy carbs that are made with bad oils, industrialized oils. That you see those oils in the middle aisles of your grocery store. Bad oils. And you know what? For your lungs, that's just like smoking. If you insist on eating that stuff, it's just like smoking. I actually introduced that in the book, The Reset. I talked about that. Not only does it drive your insulin, but you might as well smoke if you insist on eating those crappy oils. Guys, there's good fats, and your body needs them. And good fats is butter and lard. Do you know that McDonald's used to cook their French fries in lard? Until the brains of the world at the time told them, "Oh, that's full of fat. You're gonna give people heart disease with your fries," and they switched their oils. Yeah, McDonald's started off by cooking their oils in lard, like. The world went crazy, guys. The world went mad. Lung cancer. You got low levels of vitamin D, you got a major risk of lung cancer. Major risk of breast cancer, ladies. Major risk. Listen to this. Melanoma. Hello? Are you listening? Melanoma. The deadly skin cancer. Reduced by 30%. With good levels of vitamin D. Well, Doc, that don't make sense. Isn't skin cancer the sun? Well, according to Johnson & Johnson, it is. But that was never true. Melanoma occurs with people that have low levels of vitamin D. They work indoors. I know the odd farmer got melanoma, but usually they don't. If they get a skin cancer, it's going to be a basal cell or a squamous cell carcinoma. And again, I never asked people to burn in the sun. I didn't say that was good for you. You know what a lot of people have said to me too, by the way? And you know, I don't know if this has been scientifically proven, But people can get in the sun and get more sun, including, very fair people, redheads and whatever. That, usually they got to be, they don't have a lot of, pigmentation to block the extra sun. They have to be careful, of course. But what they have told me, so I don't know if this is just anecdotal, but you know what they're saying? Is that when I clean up my diet, and take vitamin D, I can get more sun. I get more vit-derma without burning. But imagine melanoma. Low levels of vitamin D. Wow. And, vitamin D, again, you're a human solar panel, guys. You're a human solar panel. Every cell in your body, but especially your immune system, your T cells, your Navy SEALs, are energized by vitamin D. And yesterday here in Northern Ontario, it was like summer here. You know what I was doing? Outside. Walking, even sunbathing. In October, in Northern Ontario. Must be climate change. Until it isn't, because the climate's going to change. We're going to get our winter, I guarantee it. You can put your money on it. Anyway, I don't want to get into politics, okay? Well, I do, but I don't want to have a fight. But isn't that something, guys? Vitamin D. Cancer nosedives with vit-derma. That's the headline. Cancer nosedives with vitamin D, with vit-derma. Your booster shot for your immune system. Big Pharma is talking about boosters. This is a great booster. Vitamin D. Everybody should be on it. And to my people that live in the southern part of the United States, I tell you, okay? Here's a little memo from me. You don't get heaven. You already got heaven. We get heaven. We live in Canada. We get to go to heaven. You guys are in heaven. But you know what? All joking aside, you don't get enough sun. The sun's out. What, in Florida, 300 and something days a year? The sunshine state. And most people that live in Florida, they got low levels of vitamin D. How crazy is that? Because they bought the lie. They bought the lie. And you can't get vit-derma if you put sunscreen on. Okay? I don't like that. I don't like you putting chemicals on your skin. You want to get a bad experiment? I tried it in chemistry class. Mix some chemicals and then add heat. Ooh, I just about blew up our lab in high school. I was fooling around. Did I tell you I majored in recess in school? I only got serious. I only got serious when I got to university. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. Was there anything else? Oh, yeah. Listen to this one. This came out too. I'll just finish with this. Your chances of dying, okay, overall mortality, okay, if you're a senior, well, you're going to die. That's 100% for sure. But your chances of dying prematurely if you are a senior, okay, put your hand up. My name is Tony, and I'm a senior. Okay? And if I don't get vitamin D, listen to what the study in Warsaw, Poland, presented to a huge conference. What did it say? Chances of dying increases by 25% in seniors with low levels of vitamin D. And listen to this, 95%, if not higher, of seniors have low levels of vitamin D. 95% do not have optimized levels of vitamin D. It's crazy, guys. Part of a solution is right in front of us. It's vitamin D. These are incredible studies. I'll tell you, you're going to have to scour the internet to try and find these things. They'll be buried because it doesn't go with the narrative. But this is the news behind the news, guys. This is you. This is for you. The news behind the news. Again, you can't influence anyone else. Do it to yourself first. Make sure you got good levels of vitamin D. Optimize them. Okay? Optimize them. Okay. Friday, question and answer. Okay? The Reset, #1 selling book in Canada. We appreciate it. Keep it going. Okay? And if you're not a member of the Martin Clinic Facebook group, join up today. You don't get our emails? You don't? Well, you can join our email list. Sign up at themartinclinic.com. And for folks that, even for you guys, you know what's a good idea? You want to listen to these again? The Doctor Is In podcast. You can download it on your smartphone. You can get notices that they're coming out. The new ones are up. I don't know how to do that, but I bet you do. No, I listen to podcasts all the time, okay, on my smartphone. Smartphone in a dummy's hands. That's me. Okay. Okay, guys. Love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.